played a Mead Bowers game for me.
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. And today I'm very excited to check out Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas game from University Games. This is for 2 to 4 players. Age is 4+. It'll take about 15 to 25 minutes to play. And in Dr. Seuss How the Grinch Stole Christmas game, you'll be playing as a Who living in Whoville. And you're going to be driving into Whoville, picking up presents, and then taking presents back to your house. But, it's not that easy, because the Grinch is going to be going around his little track and stealing presents from your house, and then, for some reason, returning them back to the store. I'm assuming he knows someone at the store, and he has some sort of scam working, where, like, he's able to return the presents back, and then the person at the store, like, forges a receipt so he can get cash back, and then, you know, it's like, hey, you get 30%, and I get 70%, and I'm not exactly sure how that works thematically, but is it a good game? Let's open it up, and I'll tell you what I think. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of How the Grinch Stole Christmas game. So first and foremost, we got our handy dandy rule sheet. It's really just this page right here, and it's pretty well done. It should have you up and running pretty smoothly. It's a very simple game, very simple rules, and I can teach you how to play right now. So in How the Grinch Stole Christmas game, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be moving your car, and you're going to be driving to Whoville, and you'll be trying to pick up presents. Once you pick up a present, you're going to try and take it back to your house. But while you are away, the Grinch will be moving around the outside of the board, and he will steal your presents, and for some inexplicable reason, he's going to actually return them to the store. Not quite sure how that works thematically, but anywho, let's show you exactly how the game works. So in this game, you're going to be trying to get 3 presents to your house. If you can get 3 presents to your house, you immediately win the game. Components, gameplay, let's do it. So first we got the board. So first you're going to notice around the outside you have these little white circles which kind of look like eggs. That's going to be the track where the Grinch will go. No one else will be going on this white track around the outside of the board. The rest of the track is where you will be driving your car. And you can only go up and down this street right here, and then clockwise around this circle right here. And how you're going to move is you're going to be spinning this spinner right here, which will have numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Also around the outside, you'll notice all these Grinch heads, and I'll explain those Grinch heads a little bit more in a second. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to move in, land on a store, and then put that item into your car, take it back to your house, at which point you'll be 1/3 of the way to winning the game. So let's run you through a couple mock turns and you'll very quickly understand what's going on. So what you're going to do on your turn is you're going to spin the spinner. We'll say Orange is going first, and he would get to go 2 spaces. We ignore the Grinch heads right now because the Grinch heads only matter once someone has successfully gotten one of these toys or items or candy back to their house. So let's say we move 2 spaces, it gets back to us again, and we would go 2 more spaces. And unfortunately, we've landed on a go home space, which means you automatically go back to your house. Now, in this particular instance, that's not that good. However, once you have a present, that will save you some time. So let's just speed up the game a little bit. Let's say we got here, we went here, we got ourselves this little, I don't know, this musical instrument, and then it goes back to us, and we boop, 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 boop. So we have successfully gotten this back to our house. At this point, the game gets more interesting because once someone has 1 present back at their house, it doesn't matter any of the players, the Grinch now comes onto the board. He starts at our house. So now what's going to happen is we go over to the red player over here. He's going to spin the spinner, and he himself will be going 5 spaces, but the Grinch will also be moving 1 space clockwise around the board. So this guy would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the Grinch would move 1 space, and then yellow would go, and the yellow would move 3 spaces, and the Grinch would move 1 space. But here's where the game gets a little bit dicey, because if you have a present at your house and the Grinch goes to your house when you were not there, then the Grinch steals your present and puts it back onto the board. So it's kind of like, oh man, the Grinch is coming. Do I have time to get this present? And really, you don't really have any choices. I mean, you have to go get the presents. But still, so there is that sense of tension as the Grinch slowly moves across the board. Now, you might also notice that there's some circles with the Grinch's face. So if the Grinch lands on one of those spaces, then you take an additional spin. So let's just say that it was Blue's turn, and Blue moved 2 spaces, and then the Grinch moved here. Well, the blue person is going to spin the spinner again, and it's going to tell... So the Grinch would now move 3 spaces, but this time he moves backwards. So whenever the Grinch lands on one of the spaces with his spaces with faces, then he is going to go back that number of heads or whatever is rolled. Eventually what's going to happen is someone is going to get 3 different toys at their house, at which point they will be the winner of the game. And that, in a nutshell, is how you're going to play Dr. Seuss, How the Grinch Stole Christmas game. Oh, one last thing is, when the Grinch goes to a house that has more than one present, he only steals 1 present. He doesn't steal all 3, because that'd be pretty devastating. But that, in a nutshell, is how the game's played. Alright then, Dr. Seuss, How the Grinch Stole Christmas game from University Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go with the pros, let's go with the cons. First, on the con side. The game's very light, it's very simple, 2 to 4 players, restricted player count, and this is your typical piece of mass market crap. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It is a roll and move game. You have next to no control over anything you do in the game. Like, the only choice you make is, do I stop at this store, or do I stop at that store over there? Well, I should probably stop at that store over there, because then I'll have less wasted movement spaces. But there is no real strategy in this game. Oh, the Grinch is coming to your house to steal stuff? Too bad. Nothing you do about it. Just deal with it. And that's really it. And I'll put it like this. I play a lot of games in my classroom with kids. And one of the kids that I was playing this with said, because I asked at the end of the game, I was like, all right, what'd you think about the game? This was from a 10-year-old girl, 11-year-old I think it was. And she's like, it was okay. It was just, after playing all the other games we played, I just can't, I don't know, I just can't really play games like this because I didn't have any choices. And I was like, bingo! You're learning! You're learning! There's no choices in this game. You are on a track, and whatever you spin on the spinner is going to happen. Period. There's no choices in this game, and that's why I don't like the game. Any other cons I have of the game? Oh, the theme. Yeah, I love How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It is arguably one of my favorite Dr. Seuss books of all time. I think Butter Battle Book is a very close #1, but still, I absolutely love Dr. Seuss. And I'm a Dr. Seuss connoisseur. You know, I'm a teacher, so obviously I read a lot of Dr. Seuss. This is one of my favorites of all time, and I don't feel like they did a very good treatment of the game thematically. It just doesn't make much sense. Oh, we're taking toys back to our house. Well, we know the Grinch is good at robbing houses, so why don't we just leave the toys in our car? I mean, you remember the part where the Grinch stole Christmas, where he jacked into somebody's car and stole their stuff? No, you don't, because it didn't happen. So it would make more sense just to leave the stuff in your car. But hey, I don't know. Let's put it back in our house and then drive away when we know the Grinch is running around town stealing stuff. It just doesn't make any sense. And why is the Grinch returning things to the store? Mind-boggling. I don't know. Also, it's just frustrating for younger kids. So I am going to get in the pros, and I'm going to say that if you have kids that are very, very young, 4 and 5 years old, this is not a terrible game for them. I'm going to tell you that. But they will get frustrated at this game, especially when the Grinch steals their stuff. Because here's the thing. You put all this effort in. It might take you 4 or 5 turns to get a toy and get it back to your house. And then, boom, Grinch steals it. All that work is done. And it's just like, is there anything I can do about it? No, there's nothing you can do about it. So I didn't like that aspect of the game. The more I talk about this game, the more I'm leaning towards a negative review. But in the end, moving on to the pros, it's got source material that is going to make kids want to play the game, which is a good thing. And the game is easy to learn, it's easy to teach, which is a good thing. I like the artwork, even though the artwork in the game doesn't really match the artwork on the box, so it's a little bit of a bait and switch in that aspect. You know what? We're flipping this whole dang thing. No, I can't recommend this game. This game's not good. You know what? I was leaning towards giving this a very lukewarm recommendation if you have kids that were 3, 4, and 5 years old. That's it. That's the cutoff. 3 to 5 years old, I'd say, it's an okay game. You know, it's not a good game. You're going to be bored while you play it, but it's okay. But now I can't. You know what? I just don't recommend this game. So this game sucks. So let's talk about the pros. What are on the pros? It's the Grinch. Kids love the Grinch because the Grinch is awesome. It has little cars they can drive around. They can pretend like they're driving a car, even though the cars are, you know, they're just cardboard standees. I don't know. I don't know. It's just why? Why put out this pile of crap? I know why. To make money. So in the end, Dr. Seuss, How the Grinch Stole Christmas is mass market crap. And while I thought that maybe I could recommend it to younger children, I just can't. Go buy a Hobby game. Go buy a Hobby game that has better components, better gameplay, better mechanisms, that's actually going to allow your child to make choices instead of picking up this game at the thrift store, because inevitably, if you're watching this video, you're probably sitting at a thrift store like, should I pick up this game? And I'm here to tell you, No. No, you probably shouldn't, because it sucks. And none of the pieces are that cool, except for the little Grinch standee. So in the end, Dr. Seuss How the Grinch Stole Christmas is not a game I can recommend to anybody. But then again, University Games normally makes crap, so screw you, University Games. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know. If you were going to make a Grinch game, what mechanism would you put into said game? And what would the game be about? Because I think, man, I really wish there were some adult hobby games based on some of the Dr. Seuss material, because I think that would be cool. I think it'd be a fun game if you were playing as the Grinch, and then the Grinch's cousin, and the Grinch's dad, and sister, and mom, or whatever, and you were in different towns, and maybe you were trying to rob the most. Like, you were actively trying to rob the most. So maybe it's like a worker placement game, where each time you're placing your little Grinch meeples, because you know you want some Grinch meeples, that'd be stinking awesome, on different spots. And maybe you send Max to do something, and maybe you have, like, a robot. I don't know, maybe you can get a little bit crazy with the source material. Maybe you're making your disguise better, so you'll be... if you do get noticed, you're more likely to blend in or something like that. I think it'd be a really cool worker placement game, like a kid's worker placement game. Maybe ages 8, 9, 10, a family weight worker placement game. Well, let me know in the comments below. What kind of Grinch game would you like? And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.